Ilia Topuria. I am fired up to see this guy back in the octagon. We thought it was going to be a ton of different people. They made it very clear the Volk rematch was happening. He ends up moving up because there was no business having that fight again. He was moving up, chasing Islam Makhachev. If you don't know who that guy is, give him a quick Google. He was good. That's a real. You can't say John Jones didn't duck Tom and then come right around an hour later and say that Islam ducked Ilia.
No,
I'm not hearing it.
Islam,
but he did. So you can say it because he completely ducked him.
Ducks.
He wanted no part of Ilia Topuria, and for good reason. Have you ever seen that? This silky smooth Ryman cat can throw down like no one we've ever seen in the UFC, bro. Man, I'm fired up for this guy. I don't know if you saw the picture of him next to Raul Rosas. I don't know if he's a true. Yeah, I don't know if he's a true lightweight, and I don't know if you've seen a picture of Charles Oliveira next to anyone. That guy is huge.
I've seen Charles Oliveira. I've been shoulder to shoulder with Charles Oliveira. The guy's big, bro.
He made you look small, which I've made a career of doing, right? So
hey, the guy is big. I'm worried about the size for sure. This is going to be an absolute firework main event. I don't see this fight getting outside of round 3 at the most. 2 to be 2. I think this fight ends early, to be honest with you.
Well, how do you see it going? To take the floor.
Look, everyone knows today's day and age, this guy at Alicante, Spain, Ilia Topuria, is my favorite fighter on the planet today. He's fighting a guy in Charles who is a superstar in the sport. He's done a lot of things. But make no mistake about it, he's fighting the absolute. In my opinion, this guy, if he can knock out Charles on Saturday, he might become maybe the biggest star in the sport. To be honest with you,
I agree.
I see Charles coming out. He's gonna. I don't think he sees Ilia shooting on him, so I think Charles comes out early, aggressive on the front foot, like we talk about. When he doesn't feel that threat of a takedown, he applies pressure early. He's gonna think that he can probably bully Ilia a little bit, and we'll see. Maybe he can, but I think we see Ilia mix in a takedown early just to keep him honest. He did it to Max. I see him maybe doing this to Charles, just to keep him honest early. And I think what's going to happen is Charles is going to land something here and there on Ilia, and Ilia is going to say, all right, bite down on the mouthpiece, and he's going to say, all right, let's start to exchange. Eventually, I'm going to land the shot that's going to put you out, and make no mistake about it, Ilia Topuria via second round KO.
I love it.
Yeah, this is about to...
One of my favorite songs.
Hold on, we gotta wait to the part. And then this is everyone in the crowd with their roses. Ay, 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 ay. I got Ilia Topuria via second round KO.
Yeah.
Hebs, what do you think about this one?
I love it, dude. So I think what's interesting, what I don't see anyone talking about. So obviously the greatest back-to-back wins in UFC history, I would say, 2 top 15 fighters of all time. Volk, probably a top 10 fighter of all time. He sparked them both. Max and Volk, for how good they are, for how dominant they were, and for their styles, for being strikers, no knockout power, right? No power on either of those cats. I know some will even argue and say that Max, later in his career, right, after the third Volk loss, he started like sitting down more on his shots, and then he had a little bit more pop in them, and then he moves up, he puts on some weight to fight Gaethje, and then he seemed like he had more power. But at 45, again, especially recently, the guy is not putting people away, not really doing anything close to that. And the same with Volk. Like, any knockout that guy had, it was an accumulation of damage. Neither of them have anything close to one-punch knockout power. Ilia Topuria, when you watch either of those fights, and that's why another thing that, too, it takes a special eye to see, and which you and I both have, Ilia would go into the fire with both of them time and time again because he had no fear for what was coming back to them. And that's why in both of those fights, especially the Volk fight, I'm spitting all over the place. You see a lot of people, I might have a lisp, I don't know when that happened, but you see a lot of people say, oh, Volk was winning and then he got caught, or Volk looked really good. No, he didn't look good. That is the way Ilia Topuria fights, because he was content getting hit and taking shot after shot because he had no fear of what was coming back on him with Volk. He said, I'm going to keep going into the fire and I'm going to land. And it took him 7 minutes to put him out unconscious. So that was his game plan and he executed it perfectly. So for people saying, oh, Volk looked good, Volk was having some success. No, he wasn't. That was Ilia's game plan. He did the same exact thing versus Max. Max did look good in that fight, but Ilia was fine continuing to go in and get into range, go into the fire.
And you see him as the fight goes on, he literally starts to just slip these shots I'll land the jab. I'll lead it. I'll eat it, and then I'm gonna fucking land my 1-2, and it's gonna be a whole fucking other ball game.
Bro, well said. That exactly right. Like, people say that he's willing to take one to give one. He's willing to take two to give one because he has power unlike anything I've ever seen in the UFC. He had him and Pereira. It's like, or that's like what McGregor did, but like, they go right to sleep, dude. He rocks people. We never saw Max Holloway get dropped, or Gaethje dropped him, but like, he went out, bro. He cracked him twice. But when you watch Josh Emmett, a fight you were there for, when he was fighting a guy with true knockout power, obviously Josh Emmett as a fighter and in the striking does not compare to Max Holloway or Volkanovski, but he has way more power than both of them, and he's put a ton of guys away. Ilia Topuria fought that fight way differently, right? He was a different fighter in that fight than he was versus versus Max or versus Volk. That's why it went the distance. Now he 10-7 him like 3 times. That was he should have knocked him out multiple times. Emmett's a freakazoid. I don't know how he survived, but he did not go in, and he said this multiple times, like, he but he knew the power that was coming back at him. So he fought that fight way differently. Charles Oliveira has way more power than Max and then Volk. We've seen Charles Oliveira knock out real guys. We've seen him hurt real guys at 55. So I think we're going to see a different version of Ilia. Like, I don't know if it's going to be this. Right, we all want to say what you just said, that it's going to be a firefight, that they're going to run in there. And Charles marches. Anytime Charles is fighting a guy where he doesn't fear the wrestling, he's going to march forward and he's going to be willing to throw. And he's going to be willing to take one to throw one.
Yeah.
You might not want to do that against Ilia Topuria, but I don't know if Ilia wants to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, this isn't a guy that I think you can it's not Holloway, it's not Volk. He's not going to be able to, not that he can't take the shots, but if Charles lands something significant, he can hurt you bad.
Yeah, I always think of the Gaethje fight. Not only after Gaethje said, right, that was the hardest guy I've ever fought. I just fought Poirier. I just fought Chandler. That was the hardest hitter I've ever fought. You remember, Oliveira rocked him 5 seconds into the fight. He stunned him. The first punch he threw against Justin Gaethje, he rocked him. He stunned him. And then he obviously knocked him down badly, which led to the submission. This guy's got real power. So that's the thing that I'm most interested in, because, again, it doesn't matter the skill level. You could say Ilia's way better than Charles if you want to. I'm not saying that. But, again, Ilia fought Josh Emmett as a minus 800 favorite, and he didn't want to go into the fire every time. He knew, I'm way more skilled. I'm a way better boxer. I could box the face off this guy, and I don't have to be eating big punches coming back. That's what I'm very curious about, how he respects, because he knows Charles has that power, and he's a very intelligent guy. So I think the first couple rounds here, we might see it a little more boring than we think, because I think both guys are going to be respecting the other person's power. And the Charles Oliveira meme, right? The guy playing a video game, getting out of his seat. We know that this guy, he gets rocked by everyone. He gets back up, and then it's a different fighter. I don't think that that's happening against Ilia Topuria. This guy's power is different. I don't think he's going to be able to, I got dropped twice and then I come back and win like I did versus Gaethje, like I did versus Dustin, Chandler. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. Another thing I'll say, I know I'm ranting like, oh, a tale as old as time. I guess we're back into it. Oliveira, when he fought Chandler most recently, that was a different Oliveira. That was not a guy. That was a smart, like that was the most calculated I ever saw him on the feet, especially during his run. Again, he was a wild man, and he would go into the fight. There were so many times, we'll say in the first 4 rounds, because the fifth round, whatever, but in the first 4 rounds, he hurt him a ton, and he was not going for the finish. So I don't know if he's changed his style since, losing to Arman and losing to Islam, but again, that version of Charles seemed very dangerous. So, I mean, I'm just saying, obviously, I'm picking Ilia to knock him out in the third round, but that's the thing that I'm most curious about, because if the Emmett fight didn't happen or if it went differently, then, I'm just going to say Ilya's going to go out there and fight him the same way he fought Max and Volk, but he's not going to. He's made that very clear. So, yeah, man, I couldn't. I'm so excited for this fight. Like when this is one of those fights, man. This is why we love the UFC. When they walk out, it's gonna be from the moment the Pantoja snooze fest. Fuck the flyweights, dude. I was just putting respect. Who cares? That's a bathroom break if I've ever seen one. From the moment that fight ends, you're gonna be pacing back and forth. These are the fights that when you watch with your friends, they're like, "What is wrong with this dude?" They're like, "What is wrong?" Like, sit down, and you're growling and you're front. Maybe I'm alone in doing this. I shouldn't be airing myself out, but you know what I'm saying? This is one of those where you're just waiting for the first exchange.
Absolutely.
Again, do you see Charles having any success? So you said it's going to be do you see him?
Yeah, I think if the fight goes longer, depending on what type of fight it is in the first 2 rounds, I will start to I would not be putting money on this fight. Although I'm confident that Ilia, like I want Ilia to win, I think he's going to get the job done. This is not a fight that I would, especially at the odds that it is. Like I would laying Ilia at 3 or 4 to 1 is ridiculous. Like
it got worse the last I checked. Like I think he's minus 450 now. Like
yeah, like that's ridiculous. I'm telling you, Oliveira is going to be so much bigger than him. I don't know. We'll see, dude.
I put up that picture of him next to Rosas, and then there's a picture of Charles next to Rosas too. And everyone was explaining to me bone density and muscle and all that. He already started cutting weight. Like that's great. Like he's 5'6", and Oliveira is a huge 55er, and it doesn't seem like Topuria is going to be. I think he's going to be a regular size 50. He also said he didn't put on any weight. So a lot of guys, when they move up 10 pounds, they maybe put on another 4 or 5 pounds, and maybe he's lying, but he said like this weight cut could not be easier. He didn't put on any extra weight. So I keep wondering if there's just something we're missing. If we're going to look at this in next Sunday and be like, did we miss something? But
I'm telling you, the size could be a problem for sure.
Right? Absolutely, like, especially what if Oliveira comes out and again, he's never with the jiu-jitsu, but he's never been a guy who's shooting for single legs in the middle of the cage. Like, obviously, he loves the clinch. He loves the dirty boxing and elbows, but he's never been like a wrestler. I don't know.
I think Charles is going to look to use the clinch. You get Ilia working the arms, get him up against the cage. Like, that's what he needs to do. If he makes it just a striking match strictly, I think it's going to be like it would be like the Emmett fight where Ilya's just landing and like telling him to get up type of thing. Like,
yeah.
So I can't wait for this fight.